Diddy jury selection begins today. It is Monday, May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. Happy Cinco de Mayo. And we've got the Diddy jury selection taking place right now in New York City. They've got live cameras out there, taking a look at the doors and seeing what's going on here. I don't know. I haven't seen Diddy at all. I think he came in. There was a description of him coming in, but I haven't seen any video yet of him actually coming in. Has anyone seen Diddy? Has anyone seen actual, what he looks like lately? Because I haven't seen him in months. But anyway, so they're doing jury selection right now for this trial, which is set to begin in a couple of weeks, depending on how long this process takes. So they've got to come up with 12 people who can objectively try this case and come up with an answer to his guilt or innocence. Now, obviously up to the prosecution in the criminal case to make their case. It's, and defense is going to do the best they can to defend himself. Let's just quickly go over the three things that we're really looking at here, like the main things, right? You got the RICO charge, which is basically, alleging that he had a criminal enterprise with his employees and his associates to commit illegal acts. Take your pick of what those illegal acts could be. That's kind of broad, but RICO is a pretty broad statute. And that carries a lifetime sentence. Then you've got the trafficking, which is moving people by force or coercion to carry out prostitution, which is a mandatory minimum of 15 years, but more than likely another life sentence here. And then also transportation of people to engage in prostitution, which is I think a minimum 10-year sentence as well. Now, the defense is going to make the case that this is all consensual, right? All these women, all these people involved, all wanted to be part of these parties and all wanted to have that much baby oil splashed on them, and all were willing to drink alcohol and partake in various substances and whatever it was in order to enjoy themselves at these parties that he was throwing, the freak-offs. That's what they're going to say. That these people all knew what they were doing there already. And I have said previously on other videos about Diddy that I believe probably a few of them here and there probably did. They knew what they were doing. There are people who were aware of what was happening. They were part of that lifestyle. They indulged in that lifestyle. However, I still believe there's tons of victims here. I haven't seen much about the underage thing, like the minors, right? It's like a lot of these charges don't allege, trafficking of minors. We don't see any of that, which I think is somewhat unfortunate, because I think there was enough eyewitness testimony, and there are people out there who are making the claims, notably Allie Carter. If you haven't seen my video on Allie Carter, you can find a link for that somewhere here or in the description, who talk about the enterprise and how things were when it came to this sort of Jeffrey Epstein-like situation that Diddy was part of. So we haven't seen that. Now, getting to the specifics of whether coercion was a thing for this guy, whether Diddy was actually forcing people into situations. We don't need to look too much further than the Cassie videotape, which was released by CNN, right? That tape alone, as far as I'm concerned. Now, that tape has been ruled by the judge to be admissible in this particular case. Now, he's not being tried for that. That has nothing to do with the case, but they are using it as sort of character reference to suggest that, look, this man is capable of being a threat to people underneath him, that he used coercion, he used violence in an effort to do things. The way he treated Cassie on that videotape, which was god-awful, and as far as I'm concerned, put the nail in the coffin for this man. Previously, I might have been a little more liberal in my sort of objective stance on trying to figure out, he had parties, he was a bit of a freak, don't know that that's a crime. It's going to be tough for people to prove that, and I kind of weighed in the middle. Yeah, probably a little bit more towards the victims, but the idea that it's possible that this is just being blown up for no reason, or it's a money grab. It's possible. But then when the Cassie thing came out, to me, it just showed what kind of low life this man is, and to what degree he could treat another human being, a female at that. It's not even like he got into a fight with a man and you could be like, he was kind of like, no, what he did to Cassie in that videotape alone, for me, was enough to totally judge this man and say, yeah, if that's what you did to her, God knows how long that's been going on. God knows how many other people you've done that to. That's your MO. That's the way you operate. So in this case, that tape is going to be used to define his character and to determine whether or not it's for the prosecution to basically make the case that this man is capable of doing such. Plus, you've got other witnesses. Besides Cassie, you're going to have 3 to 10 maybe other witnesses who will be unnamed, probably, who are going to come out against him. So he's got a lot to fight against. Most recent news, was it last week, he rejected a plea deal which, hey, he's fighting for his innocence. He's going up against spending the rest of his life in jail or fighting this, which he decided to do. So he must truly believe he's innocent and he's going to beat these charges. He's got some ace up his sleeve or whatever it is. He thinks he's going to beat this. I don't know. I honestly couldn't even speculate right now as to how this is going to go for the Didster, but just seems really interesting. Anyway, they are doing jury selection, and jury selection, they typically, so they have to sort through a bunch of people who hopefully are going to be, what they're going to be looking for is older people who are not familiar with, the hip hop and all these other things, and Diddy's history in the 90s specifically, and his mogul status and all that stuff. And look for people who, see how people feel about sexual assault and the Me Too movement and what their take is on all these different things, and try to find people who are going to weigh in and be able to, try this case from an objective standpoint to hear the evidence. So we've got some of the questions that are going to be asked to some of the jury members, the potential jury, for this case. So I'm sure you guys want to hear some of this. So one of the questions we see that we got, it says, which Bad Boy single was better, Black Rob's Whoa or Craig Mack's Flavor in Your Ear, the remix? That's one of the questions. Another question. How do you spell freak off? Do you hyphenate it or is it one word? Another question. How much baby oil do you use in an average month? Another question for the jurors. Have you said the words, take that, take that, take that, ever in your life? If you were invited to an all-white party, would you actually wear all white? Would you comply? It's another question. I don't know where they got that one from. Do you call the defendant, Sean Combs, do you call him Diddy, Puffy, Puff, or Puff Daddy? So this makes a big difference in the case and how they're going to see this. Also, have you ever been to any adult-themed parties? Another question, how would you define the term bad boy? And finally, were or are you a fan of the rapper Shine? These are some of the questions that they're going to be asking the jury. I'm not sure all those questions have anything to do with this or how that's going to help them out, but those are some of the questions that were leaked and we got. So anyway, Time to Talk podcast. I've been absent for a bit, politically speaking, just because I've been overwhelmed with working on other projects and politics and what's been going on with, I didn't do anything on Trump's first 100 days. And I even have a fan or stalker or somebody who relentlessly sort of hits me up with like, why are you not saying anything? How come you haven't said anything what Trump did today? How come you didn't say anything about this executive order? And I'm like, I'm just overwhelmed with it all. I'm not supporting Trump. I'm like, do not think he's done a great job the first 100 days. I am vehemently against the whole thing that's going on with Israel and all these things taking place and what Trump has been doing and all the executive orders and the deportation of people speaking out against and protesting against Israel. It's just illegal. There's a lot of stuff going on that I can't stand. I just haven't taped or done any episodes revolving around it. There's so many things I could talk about. I really had to take a break from politics. So more than likely, just from this video alone, talking about Diddy, which is current news, right? Trending news, current news. I wanted to talk about it. More than likely going forward, I will be doing much more sort of trending topics in news and entertainment rather than solely focusing on politics. It's just, I find it too negative, and it just boils my blood sometimes. And so as much as I want to have a take on it, which I probably still will when it makes sense to do so, when I'm compelled to sit here and talk about something political, I will. All right. But anyway, I've been absent for a bit. So if you're still here and somehow you're seeing this, I thank you for being a subscriber. If this got to you somehow in your feed and the algorithm worked in my favor today, and you're seeing this and you're not a subscriber, go ahead and subscribe. I really appreciate that. Like the video on the way out. That makes a big difference to make sure things continue to get boosted and I can keep doing this content. And I'll see you on the next Time to Talk podcast. Peace.